Charlie was a small, curious dog with a fluffy coat and a wagging tail that never seemed to stop. He lived in a cozy house with his owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson, who loved him dearly. They spent their days together, walking in the park, playing with toys, and cuddling by the fireplace. But as the years went by, Mrs. Thompson grew weaker, and Charlie noticed her struggling more each day. One bright morning, Charlie woke up to find Mrs. Thompson sitting in her favorite chair. Her eyes gentle but distant, she smiled at him, her fingers gently patting the space beside her. "Charlie," she whispered, "I have a special story to share with you today." Charlie hopped up into her lap, his ears perking up. She began, her voice soft. "Do you know the story of the Rainbow Bridge, my sweet boy?" Charlie tilted his head, but he could tell this was no ordinary tale. "It's a magical place," she continued, "where animals go when it's time for them to leave this world. It's a beautiful land filled with fields of flowers, sparkling rivers, and the warmest sun you can imagine. The bridge itself, Charlie, is made of every color you can think of. It's the place where we wait for our humans. And when they come, we're together again, happy and healthy." Charlie licked her hand, pressing close to her chest. He had never heard a story like this before, but something about it felt comforting, almost like a promise. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Thompson's condition worsened. Charlie could sense the change, and his heart ached as he lay beside her, resting his head on her lap. When the sun set and the house grew quiet, Mrs. Thompson closed her eyes for the last time. Charlie stayed by her side, his heart heavy with loss. But there was a strange warmth around him, as if her spirit had whispered a final goodbye. As the days passed, Charlie wandered around the house, his usual playful energy gone. He missed her voice, her touch, and the simple routine they had shared. It wasn't the same without her. And at night, he would curl up in her empty chair, staring out the window, waiting. Then, one evening, as the sky turned a soft purple, something magical happened. Charlie found himself standing at the edge of a brilliant field. The grass shimmered like emeralds, and the air smelled of fresh flowers. He blinked, unsure if this was real. But before he could take another step, he saw a figure approaching. A gentle woman with a warm smile. Her silver hair shimmered like starlight, and her eyes were the same as Mrs. Thompson's. "Charlie," she said softly, kneeling down to his level, "I've been waiting for you." Charlie's tail wagged, and he leapt into her arms, nuzzling her with joy. The woman laughed, her laugh like the tinkling of a bell. "You've been so brave, little one," she said. "But now, it's time for us to be together again." Together, they walked toward the glistening rainbow bridge that arched across the sky. The colors shifted in beautiful patterns: violet, blue, green, yellow, and orange. As they crossed, Charlie felt the warmth of the sun and the cool breeze on his fur. It was like being wrapped in love and comfort. At the end of the bridge, waiting for them, was Mrs. Thompson, healthy, happy, and smiling just as she always had. She bent down and scooped Charlie up, hugging him close. "Welcome home, my dear friend," she whispered. Charlie wagged his tail so hard that it nearly knocked him over. And for the first time since she had passed, he felt truly at peace. The Rainbow Bridge was a place where love never ended, where souls reunited and found their joy once again. And in that magical place, Charlie and Mrs. Thompson were never apart again.